win you your fantasy football leagues in 2024. What's going on, football fans and fantasy freaks? It's Mitch here, back with another fantasy football advice video. And in this video, the must-draft tight ends to crush your league mates this fantasy season. If that sounds good, don't forget to spike the like button and subscribe for more OwnersBox fantasy football content just like this. Also, hop in the comment section below and let me know your opinion on the tight end position this year. Which tight ends are you targeting? And if you have any questions at all regarding the tight end position, my strategy, my thoughts on specific players, let me know in the comment section below. Let's get to the must-draft tight ends to win your fantasy leagues in 2024. Beginning with the first must-draft tight end of 2024, that is Trey McBride of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm a big fan of the Cardinals offense for fantasy purposes in 2024. One of my must-draft quarterbacks, Kyler Murray, which, by the way, if you didn't watch that video, go watch that video. Trey McBride was his favorite target late last season. Trey McBride finished as the tight end 7 in 2023 in his second year in the NFL. And entering year 3 in the NFL, I believe he is about to break out big time. Everybody is going to know the name Trey McBride as one of the elite tight ends and pass catchers in all of football. This guy was the best tight end in his draft class, and last year he showed why. Soft hands, tough over the middle of the field, great after the catch, and a very, very underrated athlete. McBride was tight end 3 in points per game with Kyler Murray at quarterback, and expecting a little bit of the coverage to be drawn towards Marvin Harrison Jr., I expect Trey McBride to really feast in the middle of the field. I could actually see him leading the team in receptions, while Marvin Harrison Jr. is more of the big play specialist and the touchdown darling. But Trey McBride is the guy that they want to throw the ball to in the screen game, throw the ball to over the middle of the field against zone coverage, throw the ball to on third down in contested situations. Trey McBride is just a monster, period. And that's why you're drafting him in fantasy. Kelsey, Andrews, Laporta, these guys are going a bit higher than McBride on average. And I think the first guy you really want to target in that soft spot is a young up-and-coming tight end like Trey McBride. So that's my first must-draft tight end of 2024. My second must-draft tight end of 2024 is none other than Dalton Kincaid. Also a quarterback that you have to draft this year, his quarterback, Josh Allen. There's a little bit of familiarity here. Dalton Kincaid, tight end number 5. Currently being drafted across ADP. And I believe Dalton Kincaid, in terms of PPR leagues especially, is an excellent target in fantasy this year. Because I think he is the next number 1 target in the career of Josh Allen. And whenever you can draft pretty much at a discount the number 1 target for one of the at minimum 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL and probably the best fantasy quarterback in the NFL, that is a league-winning asset. Dalton Kincaid was a great prospect. He was a first-round pick by the Buffalo Bills. There's a reason the Bills felt comfortable moving on from Stephon Diggs. And it wasn't just because they knew that the drama was too much. The personality of Diggs, they couldn't overcome. It also had to do with the fact that they believed in the future of Dalton Kincaid as the number 1 player in this receiving game. And I believe Kincaid is one of those specialists at finding the soft spots in the zone, at having a rapport with a quarterback. And honestly, he had so many reminiscent traits to Travis Kelce on his college film. And then in the NFL last year, especially over the back half of the season, he showcased a great contested catch ability. I believe he led the NFL among all tight ends in contested catches, according to Pro Football Focus last year. This guy has just really elite talent as a route runner, as an athlete, as a overall pass catcher. Tight end 9 from week 7 to week 18, and that was with Stephon Diggs. So he's already a top 10 tight end in his rookie season. Expect him in year 2 to see a natural leap in his progression as a football player. But now that he's going to see more targets and probably the focus of the offensive game plan for the Bills, expect him to really thrive. I think 85, 90 catches is definitely not crazy to expect from Dalton Kincaid. So especially if you're in PPR leagues, target Dalton Kincaid as the second must-draft tight end. The third must-draft tight end of 2024 is Kyle Pitts, who's currently being drafted as the tight end 7. Now, there's a basic argument for Kyle Pitts. 1,000 yards as a rookie, the highest drafted tight end we've pretty much ever seen, and he's had 2 disappointing campaigns in year 2 and year 3. But with Desmond Ridder at quarterback, with underwhelming quarterback play, Marcus Mariota, with Arthur Smith, a guy that didn't really know how to utilize him that well, his situation is completely different now. And he's still the prospect. He's still the talent. He's still extremely young. And he's still going in the same spot in fantasy drafts. Because people and owners across fantasy circles are sick of him. They don't want to draft him. They've had enough. But now is the time to capitalize on that price. An extreme value for Kyle Pitts right now, still going in the 6th or 7th round in fantasy drafts as the tight end 7. Again, best quarterback of his career, Kirk Cousins. Best offense likely in his career in the Sean McVay-oriented attack under Zach Robinson. At worst, he's the number 2 pass-catching option for Kirk Cousins. Look at Jordan Addison last year, and he was the number 3. Look at TJ Hawkinson. Look at the history of Kirk Cousins with tight ends. Jordan Reed all the way dating back to Washington. Like, Pitts could really be a huge breakout this year, who's almost a post-hype sleeper because everybody's sick of him. But I'm telling you, once you get over that hurdle, it just makes too much sense to take Pitts this year. Because in previous years, everyone was taking him way higher. So draft Kyle Pitts. My 4th must-draft tight end of 2024 is David Njoku, currently being drafted as the tight end 9. The David Njoku argument is very simple. First of all, he's an athletic freak. He's one of the fastest, strongest, most powerful athletes at the tight end position in the NFL. He's one of the most well-rounded tight ends in the NFL. He is probably the best yards after catch threat at this position in the NFL. And lastly, but certainly not least, from week 7 to week 18 last season, he was the best tight end in fantasy football. The best. Not the second, not the third, not the fourth. The best tight end in fantasy from week 7 to week 18, and also saw not only the most points, but the highest usage. So I don't care that Jerry Jeudy, a first-round bust from the Broncos, has been added to the Browns. David Njoku is a special football player. They will find him the football. Draft him at this discount. The 5th must-draft tight end of 2024 is Jake Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys. Jake Ferguson is currently being drafted as the tight end 10. 71 catches, 761 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a Pro Bowl season in his first ever season as a starter at 24 years old. Just because Ferguson was not a rookie last year, people kind of overlook how successful he was as a young player at this position. As I've already kind of alluded to, the tight end position is usually a position that you grow into with age and experience. And typically breakouts don't really happen that early in your career. But Ferguson took over for Dalton Schultz, and he saw huge success. In 2024, I expect only more consistency. Because when you look at the back half of last season with Dak Prescott, he was a target machine, man. He had 8 targets, 4 games in a row. Then 2 games in a row, he had 6 targets. And then in the playoff game against the Packers, he saw 12 targets. I understand they were trailing in that game, but you could expect Dallas to trail more this season. They don't have a reliable running back or running game overall. I am high on Rico Dowdle, but that's mostly because of the ADP and where he goes in drafts and the value you could get of having the number 1 running back in Dallas. It's certainly not going to be old man Zeke. So Dak's going to be throwing the ball a ton. If CeeDee Lamb does leak with this contract here and he doesn't exactly play all the games or whatever, has some drama in Dallas, then Jake's only going to see more targets in the offense. But certainly what you can expect is that he's going to be the second best option in the passing game. Brandon Cooks is a little bit older. Jalen Tolbert is not proven. Jake Ferguson is a good player, tough over the middle of the field, and Dak's always had success finding his tight ends. Dalton Schultz, the later career Jason Witten. This guy loves the tight end position. So draft Jake Ferguson as a very comfortable target in PPR formats. The sixth must-draft tight end of 2024 is Brock Bowers, out of Georgia, now a Las Vegas Raider. He is currently being drafted as the tight end 11 in fantasy football. And after Sam Laporta last year, I'm willing to take my chances on rookie tight ends. I think that whole idea, concept that rookie tight ends can't be a thing for fantasy football was completely blown out by Sam Laporta and even Dalton Kincaid to a certain degree. So with Brock Bowers, the best tight end prospect I have ever evaluated, you have to draft Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers already showed unique usage in the preseason. The first ever game he's played in the NFL, they had him in the backfield as a fullback catching a pass. The plan with Brock Bowers is that he's going to play and play a lot as a rookie, as a high priority draft pick, rather in the slot, rather out wide, or in the backfield, or in line as a tight end. He's going to be moved around in this offense, and it's due to his versatility. He's an awesome player after the catch. He is a really competent blocker despite his lack of overall Gronk-like size, right? He's an excellent pass catcher, and he's a absolute demon in terms of his route running. He is just hard to cover one-on-one because of his combination of quickness and his ability to put his foot in the ground and change direction at that size. So Brock Bowers is going to be another mismatch for the Raider offense. And I could see him with Jacoby Myers and Devontae Adams, all three of these guys just consistently staying on the field together, and all three of them having pretty solid seasons. I think actually Gardner Minshew is an upgrade over what they had at quarterback last year. And if it's not Gardner Minshew, I would expect Aiden O'Connell to definitely be improved from last season. So I think the overall situation is a little bit underrated for the Raiders. And I think that the overall receiving room is very easy to predict who is going to get the ball. And I think Bowers, being such a great prospect, such a great playmaker with the ball, is going to get a ton of the ball. So expect this to be a tight end early career breakout for Brock Bowers. The final must-draft tight end of 2024 is Pat Freiermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I will put a little asterisk next to this one. If Brandon Ayuk does get traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I'm still not 100% sure that's going to happen, if he gets traded to the Steelers, I'd probably remove Pat from this list. But if not, this is a must-draft target. If you're going to wait on tight end, this is your guy. He's currently being drafted as tight end 15. Really, the first 2 years of Pat's career, he had 60 catches at minimum. Last year, he only played about 12 games, and his production obviously went down, on top of having some of the worst quarterback play in the NFL. But now that he's involved in an Arthur Smith offense who loves his multi-dimensional, dual threat tight ends who can block, who can catch, and especially run after the catch, you could see some great, easy targets for Pat Freiermuth in the Steeler offense, especially considering outside of George Pickens, they don't have another competent receiver. Van Jefferson, okay, whatever. Roman Wilson, a third-round pick. Like, Pat Freiermuth is by far the second best option in this offense. Combining that with Russell Wilson's ability to get the ball to the tight end, especially in the red zone over the course of his career. I mean, just remember all these guys that caught passes for him in the end zone, like Will Disley's of the world. Like, Pat Freiermuth is a good talent. He's great after the catch. He breaks a ton of tackles. He hurdles people. He's really athletic. Like, this is a guy that I think's right under the radar as one of the most underrated talents at this position, but also one of the most underrated usage roles of 2024. There is no way this guy does not finish inside the top 3 on his team in receptions, and probably top 2 in terms of receivers and tight ends. And whenever you can get that in a tight end in fantasy, that's extremely valuable. So Look out for Arthur Smith to utilize this guy in the screen game, in the red zone, and for him to put up fantasy points in 2024 as a definite value this season. Those are my must-draft tight ends of 2024. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more fantasy tips and tricks for 2024. And let me know any questions you guys have in the comment section below. It's Mitch. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on OwnersBox Fantasy. Peace.